Here, under the game theory, we are just going to see about the prisoner's dilemma. Under prisoner's dilemma, you just imagine that there are two suspects who are arrested for armed robbery. They are immediately separated. If convicted, they will get a term of 10 years in prison. However, the evidence is not sufficient to convict them of more than the crime of possessing stolen goods, which carries a sentence of only 1 year. The suspects are actually told the following: if you confess and your accomplice does not, you will go free. And if you do not confess and your accomplice does, you will get 10 years in prison. And if you both confess, you will both get 5 years in prison. This is what the condition is. I'll explain tell you once again. The suspects are told the following: if you confess and your accomplice does not, you will go free. And if you do not confess and your accomplice does, you will get 10 years in prison. If you both confess, you will both get 5 years in prison. This is actually, here we have a pair of matrix between these two persons. Individual A and individual B, both are actually the prisoners here, and they have two options whether to confess or not to confess. So both have the options, confess and not confess. What happens the first one? A confesses and B confesses. They both will have 5 and 5 years in prison. A confesses and B don't confess. So A will not have any options of any punishment, but B will get 10 years in prison. And if A don't confess and B confess, A will get 10 years in prison. If both don't confess, automatically it will move on to 1 and 1 year in prison. But what they will do, they are actually being separated. So the dominant strategy of both the individuals here is actually both the individuals confess. And they will both come for a Nash equilibrium, and they will have a dominant strategy where they both can be on a safer side. That is actually called as a Nash equilibrium stage. Dominant strategy where both the individuals confess. If they have this is about the first stage, and here we have, if they don't confess, what will happen? A is actually confessing and he is actually moving B into dilemma. Same as in the other stage, B is confessing and he is actually moving A to some punishment. Yeah, but they never know that if they don't confess, it's actually not proven. The evidence is not actually fulfilled enough. They can able to get 1 year. 1 year, that is actually both the persons does not know. In that case, they can able to go for a Nash equilibrium stage where they both the individuals confess and they can able to go for a dominant strategy, but they both will not meet each other. But what strategy they have actually decided, only that will make them to a conclusion here. This is actually called as prisoner's dilemma. This can be explained for any normal price competition. We can apply the same prisoner's dilemma in price competition. So here we have two firms, firm A and firm B. Okay, firm A, they have both the firms, firm A and firm B, they have two options. One is they can opt for low price or they can opt for high prices. Okay, so what happened? They have both are actually the rivalry firms, and they are actually being fighting for each other. And what will happen? First thing, firm A chooses for low price, and firm B is also choosing for low price. Both will have an equal mentality here. They can able to have 2 and 2 options. And what happened if firm A chooses for high price and firm B is actually for choosing for lower price? Firm B will get the high demand, because if there is a goods being demanded, if there is a low price, so automatically the customers will move on to firm B and they will not stay in firm A. Same as if firm B is giving high price and firm A is actually going for a low price, what will happen? Automatically the customers will move on from firm B to firm A. And the last case is both the parties are moving for high price. High price in the sense there is no change. Sometimes they can expect that the parties, there is no other go, they have to purchase the goods and they will come and purchase. But here the condition is both the firms does not know what the other firm is going to decide. Other firm is going to what strategy the other firm is going to take. In that case, the best thing what both the firms can go for a thing is it can go for a prisoner's dilemma. They can choose low price here. Both firm A is also choosing for low price and firm B is also choosing a low price, and this can be called as Nash Equilibrium stage, and this can also be called as dominant strategy, where they can able to go for a low price where both the parties will not go for a high loss. This is a very important concept in game theory. And here same thing can be prisoner's dilemma can be applied in a non-price competition. Non-price competition, same thing, we can able to see the advertise and don't advertise thing. In that case, both the parties, without knowing what the other firms actually does, they can go for advertise option. They does not choose don't advertise option, because if they don't advertise, the other parties will get benefited. And they might not know what the other parties does. In that case, they can be able to go for a don't advertise option here. So sorry, they should not go for a don't advertise option. They have to go for a advertise option. So that will be a dominant strategy for both the parties, for firm A and firm B, and that can be called as a Nash equilibrium here. And same thing, same business dilemma can be applied in a cartel cheating. Cheating here we have two firms, firm A and firm B. So here cartel cheating is nothing but the way they can able to express, they should not, but this is actually not a general mentality what they can able to have, but still here we can able to have a concept which can able to have both the parties will go for an equilibrium stage, where they can able to have a 2-on-2 option over here. So extension of the game theory. So you have repeated games and many consecutive moves and counter moves by each player, that can be called as repeated games, and that is one of the extension of the game theory. What we are actually moving on in the game, that is extended over here. And tit for tat strategy, that do to your opponent what your opponent has just done for you. This is actually called as tit for tat strategy, but maximum this tit for tat strategy should not be done, because it won't be good for a what we can say, it won't be good for a normal firm or a normal business has to go on. A smooth business, if they has to run, they just don't want to go for a tit for tat strategy. And tit for tat strategy can be called as a stable set of players, where you want these things. How this tit for tat strategy can be applied? You can able to have a stable set of players, small number of players, and easy reduction of cheating by the others, and stable demand and cost conditions, and game repeated a large and uncertain number of times till they get an end. And we have one more strategy which is actually called as the threat strategies, which are credibility, reputation, commitment. We can able to give an example like entry deterrence. These are some of the examples of threat strategies. And entry deterrence is actually where you are not allowing the other party to enter. That's the first thing. So no credible entry deterrence is given over here. Firm A and firm B. Firm A, they both have a firm B is actually having two options, whether either to enter or not to enter. Okay, and firm A is having options whether they can able to have a low price or higher price. So here we have low price. If the firm is having low price, firm A is already having a low price, and firm B is having an option to enter in the market. They can sustain for about already being low price, right? So we can go for a -2 option, because already firm A is actually selling their goods for a lesser price. So automatically the customers will not move for a new product. So firm B will go for a -2 option here, first one. Then even if they have a low price, and if they do not enter, they will have a 0, because they are not even entering into the market. They will get only 0 here. And if firm A is choosing for a higher price and firm B enters, what will happen? The persons who are actually there for firm A will choose firm A, but some persons will move on to firm B. That is why this -2 will change to +2. That is actually 2 here. And if high price would not enter, no issues. They can able to have a 0 here. And credible entry deterrence, this is actually called as no credible entry. And here we have credible entry deterrence, where you can able to have two firms the same, 4 minus 2 here as actually, and higher price and entering of the other party. Credible entry is a very risky one, so where they can able to make if they do not enter also, because that the firm A has to be, if they want to have 7,2, firm A has to be somewhat relied in the entire market. They want to fix a point over there. Their branded products has to be demanded by the other customers actually. But credible entry deterrence is actually here, which means about their product is not that much laid down in the market, and if they are moving for a higher price, automatically only some firms will be relied on the same, and maximum some parties will just move on to the next party. So what will happen, the same as in the credible entry deterrence, you can able to have firm B do not to enter. And here we can able to see international competition values, where Boeing versus Airbus Industries. So Boeing and Airbus Industries, whether to produce or not to produce. If they produce, they might have -10 option, and you can able to have 0 and 100 if they don't produce and the Airbus has been produced, and don't produce for Airbus, and if Boeing has been produced, you can able to have 100 and 100, and not produce you can able to have 0 and 0. Just for an example for you to understand. Thank you, students.